and welcome to a rainy afternoon painting with me. It's very rare that I get to sit down and paint during the day, but I feel like I deserve a treat. This is something that I'm really trying to advance myself on. I'm not a natural acrylic painter, but I've always loved to paint. The reason I started painting or drawing with coloured pencils is because my children were young and I could put them on the corner of a dining table. They were mess free. It wouldn't really matter if the kids got hold of them. I wouldn't be making a mess. They take up little room, so they're not toxic, and you can kind of pick them up and put them down really easily within, a couple of minutes really, when the children are napping or you've got really limited time. So the coloured pencils were brilliant, but I've always had this burning desire within me to paint, and so I'm really starting to find my feet with my style and think about the things that I want to paint. I've done a badger and really thought about the symbolism involved, not just the realism, which I feel like I fulfill that need for detail when I do my coloured pencil work, but I feel like I want to be a bit freer with my acrylic. So I wanted to have a play with symbolism in this as well. I want to have a play with a little bit of abstract with the splats and things. I'm going to do similar here. This background I'm actually quite pleased with. It wasn't the colour I wanted to put on, but it actually came out better than I thought. I don't want a kind of solid colour. I just wanted to have a little bit of a play. I wanted to use the skills that I picked up in coloured pencils. I've been using those for the last 7 years now into my acrylic work. The detail, the kind of technique, but also you need to mix the colours, which is something that I'm really struggling with, but I'm enjoying learning and I'm not putting too much pressure on myself. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this, and I thought I'd just talk while I'm doing it and just give you a few insights into the creative process and just some thoughts of the day, and I hope you find it enjoyable. Whilst I'm painting, I just wanted to discuss a few things, mainly really the joys and struggles of being an artist, possibly finding your style. It's taking me a long time. I'm 43 now and I still haven't found it. I constantly have these little pangs of inspiration and I think, oh, do you know what, maybe that will be it, maybe this will be my style. And then I start it and find that I don't really have the skills to back it up. And so it's really daunting to realise that you are not starting at the beginning, because I've got years of coloured pencil and just drawing from a young age under my belt, but it's new skills that you just feel really lost in. And it's really easy to give up on them and think, well, I just don't know if I've got the time or the inclination to start again. Can I do this again? But there's something in me that keeps striving to find my style, whatever it is. People talk about niching down all of the time. And what does that actually mean? It's really difficult to work out what you want to do and whether it's sustainable, whether you will find it enjoyable enough to keep it up. And of course you can try lots of different things, but in an age of social media and in an age where if we want to sell our work and if we want to be successful as an artist, whatever that means to you, then you don't really want to confuse your ideal customer. You want them to see a piece of work and know that it's yours, even if it's from a reference photo that other people have used, or whether it's a similar technique like realism. You want to have a style, and as much as I love the coloured pencil work and I really enjoy the slowness of it, the fact that it really makes your brain concentrate on something else rather than all the struggles and strains of everyday life, I love that aspect of it. I am just really copying a photograph in my style, which is fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I feel a little bit restricted in a way, because I just want to add different elements to it and I want to have a bit of fun with it as well. And although I feel like sometimes you look at artists that are doing something very similar to me and it looks as though they're doing something very similar, but their style just pings out at you. And I don't think either my skills are enough or whether I'm unique enough for that to happen for me. And I wonder if that is because I've got this need and drive in me to do something a little different, whether that's adding watercolours and splashes and sploshes and flinging paint around and mixing paints and all of this kind of stuff. I wonder if that's why. And it's not that I don't have a style or that I don't want to copy photographs, because you're not really copying them, you're putting your spin on it. I think I've always been drawn to painting, and I feel like coloured pencils fill some kind of gap, but not completely. And so I do want to combine the two. This fox, the background's really uneven and a little bit abstract, which I'm really chuffed with. But can I get a decent amount of realism on the fox without actually putting months and months of work in and having it notoriously slow like coloured pencils? I want it to be a little bit of a faster process, and I don't know if this is a style yet. I've come up with another style now, and I think, ooh, maybe that might be it. The other thing that is always on my mind when I'm creating these pieces, and I look at, for example, my badger painting. If you want to have a look on my Instagram, you'll see the latest badger painting, Moonlit Protector. I was really pleased with it at the end. I tinkered with it over and over again, so the painting's changed so much. But would I hang that on my wall? No, I wouldn't, if I'm honest with myself. And I think there's the jarring. I feel like there's a disconnect between what I'm creating and what I would put on my wall. And I wonder if that's coming across. I wonder if that is coming across to my potential customers. So I want to change that. And I think it's really important to keep trying and keep striving and keep learning and thinking about the things that you struggle with. What is it that you want to improve on? Just pick one thing with every piece, and see if you can improve on that with every drawing or painting that you do. Otherwise, it's so overwhelming. There's so many things that you need to learn, and that's how I felt at the beginning learning acrylics, is that I'm never going to get where I want to be, but it's one step at a time. And you get these little snippets of joy and breakthrough with every piece, and it keeps you motivated. It keeps you striving to have another go and to get a little bit better, and just look back to what you were doing possibly 5 years ago. It's really important to look back at your old work and think, wow, I really thought that was as good as I was going to get. And you look now at your work and see the difference in the improvement, and actually you've come in leaps and bounds. So all it takes is practice and time. That's all it takes. And I know that sounds like a lot, but you can get there. You really can get there. You just need to put the time in. Please don't ever think that you're never going to be as good. I get comments saying I'm really jealous, I'm never going to be as good as you, and I just feel really sad, because it's not true. It's really not true. You've got to just keep practicing, looking at one thing objectively and thinking, I'm going to improve on that. How can I improve? Maybe looking to a tutor or a mentor to find those skills or help you with those skills. There's loads of free resources on YouTube that is really helpful and amazing, but you will get there. You really will. The other thing I wanted to discuss was the challenges of being introverted, and I am a definite introvert. I can act extroverted at times, but that really drains me, and the way that I recharge is by being on my own. So being an artist and being in the studio is really great for me, but what can happen is that you can end up not speaking to anybody all day. Now for me, that's not too much of a problem, because I do have children and I've got a husband and life is busy with them, and so actually it's a little bit of a relief, a little bit of respite when I've got some quiet time on my own. I do like quiet time, but I do think it's important to reach out and have a community. Maybe if it's online, maybe it's friends that you go and meet. Make a point of going out, even if it's just one day a week or at weekends, just to be around people. You may need to recharge, but you can become a real hermit if you're not careful. So can you be an introvert and have a successful art business? Well, I think you can. I really don't think that you need to share too much if that feels uncomfortable. I feel like there are ways that you can be an introvert online and it still work, you still be seen. You can do faceless marketing, you can just show your work, you can voice over if you want to, you can do videos like I'm doing here where I'm not actually looking at the camera and it's just there in the background and I can talk over it. You can just put music over it if that feels more comfortable. You don't have to talk to camera. You don't have to do dances and jump around or show your body or do things that you're uncomfortable with. If you want to do those things, that's great and you feel great about it afterwards, but you don't have to. There are ways that you can really embrace your personality and mold social media around your personality, not try to push yourself and squeeze yourself into a box that you really don't feel comfortable with. As I've got older, I've realised that authenticity is really important. What does that actually mean? Well, I feel like you've got an inner compass, and of course you need to push yourself a little bit and strive out of your comfort zone, your stretch zone. That's how you grow, that's how you move forward. But you can do that in a way that doesn't stress you out, that doesn't burn you out, because what will happen is you'll go 100 miles an hour and then you'll just disappear because you'll have a burnout, you'll become ill, you'll become overwhelmed, and that's really not what you want. You want to find a way of doing these things that are sustainable, that don't burn you out, that are easily managed, and that don't overwhelm you. That's really important. So being an artist and being an introvert, I think, is actually such a good combo. I, over the last 10 years or so on social media, have done, all of the things that I think I should be doing, should in inverted commas, and it leads to burnout and disappointment. And if you put loads of work into an Instagram reel or something and nobody sees it, it is disheartening. But I feel like in an age where social media is so important and it's kind of out of your control, then instead of feeling really disappointed and disheartened with the fact that people aren't seeing your work, maybe take that as an opportunity to pivot, to start experimenting with your work. Instead of fitting into a box where you think, this is what I should be doing and I just need to keep going, actually use it as a time, because no one's seeing it anyway. And you might find that you ignite a passion within yourself that actually really comes across on social media, and then more people get to see it, more people like it. It's a bit of a, what's the word? It's a bit counterintuitive. It feels like sometimes if you just push, and that's what you're told to do all of the time, push as hard as you can. If you work really hard, you will get there. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think if you find something that you really love and enjoy, that really comes across, and then that is contagious to people because they want more of that. They want to see more of that. And if you're a much more positive person because of it, then that can only be a good thing for everyone involved, instead of having this kind of real strive and it being such a challenge and so overwhelming. And I feel like if you push too hard, it really affects the creative process. It really burns you out, and creativity becomes a chore. It doesn't become something that you want to do. And I think oversharing as well. Oversharing can become a chore. You might change your mind and you wish you hadn't put that out there, and it's almost too late. It's already there. So I feel like err on the side of caution and just do what feels comfortable for you. And you don't have to share everything. I think it is important to be yourself and find yourself, whatever that means, experiment a little bit. And if it doesn't feel comfortable, then don't do it. You really don't have to. So I feel like once you find that fit and you keep looking for inspiration, looking for artists, you're not finding them disheartening. You're actually finding it really inspirational to look up artists online, and you're using that inspiration to try and find a style that suits you, then I feel like that's the only way to keep going, to manage a social media presence, but still stay true to yourself. You find inspiration, you find motivation, despite the struggles, because at the end of the day, there are going to be parts of your business that you don't enjoy as much as others. There's a lot of admin involved when it comes to running a business that maybe you can't afford to outsource yet. Maybe that will come down the line, but there is a lot of admin that you need to do as an artist. It's probably 70-30. And the other thing I find that really motivates me is to not create as a last resort or when you have time. Book time in your diary to create before you've done the admin. And you don't have to do that every day, because sometimes that's just not feasible. But at least once a week, put time in your diary to create before you do your admin, and everything else, it just becomes more enjoyable. It's not just something that you can have a treat if you've been a good person and do it all your tasks and tick everything off your list. Actually, it should be top of the priority, because it's really great for your mindset. It's really good to fill up your cup, and you can't give from an empty cup. So you need to make sure that you are putting these things in place that fill you with joy. So my advice to any artist, really, if you're starting out, if you're on your journey, if you're struggling a little bit, if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling resentful about the algorithm and really wondering what's the point. The point, I think, is the journey. The point is the reason that you create, the reason that you first started drawing. Can you remember what it felt like as a child to just feel this urge to want to create? For me, it was kind of copying Disney. It was videos then, it was VHS videos. We even had a Betamax. Oh my goodness, I'm showing my age now. But that was the motivation. I really just wanted to get better. And then it was copying and seeing if I could get it as close to the original as possible. That was a driving force. And then I started thinking about my own things and a little bit of imagination. But just remember what it was like as a child. Did you really enjoy it? What did you enjoy? Are you enjoying the process, or are you just trying to get this thing done? And I think just taking a step back and thinking about the mindset and the state of mind whilst you're creating is so important. The more I've slowed down, the more I've really looked at the pencil stroke, really lost myself in what I'm doing, the more I've enjoyed it and the more I've been happier with the outcome. So I think that would be my advice in today's video, to encourage you all to embrace your unique journey and to find happiness in the art that you're creating. Not creating art that you think you should be creating, not creating art that you think might sell or that other people might enjoy. Think about what you would have on your wall, on what you would decorate your house with, on what you love to actually create. And maybe, well, definitely, there will be other people that feel exactly the same. And you're much more likely to attract those people into your world that way. They will feel your joy, they will feel your passion, and they will hear the story that you're telling with your art, which I think is much more important than being the best artist in the world. It's about being the best version of you in your world. I hope you found some inspiration in today's video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you did enjoy it and would like to see more like this. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Lots of love. Bye for now.